Hello, Colonauts, and welcome to part 6 of Mining the Man, Docking on Top. Right, I'll get to why I've titled it that way when we come to it. First off, though, I want to get Nina out of the Kerbal storage pods, and we'll get her into the rover, because I want to go and scan some other areas. And the reason for that is because we're not going to mine this entire crater. We're not going to stay here indefinitely. Maybe that miner will stay in this area, but I want to build a bigger miner. I'm not sure if I'll include it in the series, or perhaps do another series or something. I'm not sure. But first off, we need to go and find places. We need to find some way of getting up over the ridge of the crater. You can see some of those are steep. However, some look a bit easier to get up, like there. However, I chose this spot by here in front of us because it looks less steep. Right, now you can use MechJeb. I'm going to add some waypoints. If you use the rover autopilot, it gives you the options of adding waypoints. You can add them at certain places, bearing in mind your rover's turn radius, and also bearing in mind this rover I'm using has a higher center mass. Is high in the rover, which means if it turns too sharply, too quickly, it'll tip over. And what I can do is set a speed for its turning and set a speed for it going straight. So I set the speed about 3 meters per second, so it turns slowly, but at least it won't tip over. Okay, now the waypoints are done, you can click off the brakes and hit follow. And that is what this is doing now. Okay, let's activate the antenna and the scanner, because this is about finding ore, higher concentrations of ore. Perhaps we can move this miner here or there, I don't know. We'll see what we can get to, but first off, let's let this go on the way. We have other things to do. And we'll come back to this and the problems we find with this. And this is one of the things we have to do. We have to launch the tug off the top of the miner and dock with the space station. But you see, the space station is at an inclined orbit. And before we can launch and dock with it, we have to launch when it's in line with that orbit. You can see with the mouse over now. And right now I'm checking the times, how long the man rotates, because it's about a quarter a rotation. And I find it's about 6 days. Now, to make sure that we launch at the right time, I've got a tool called Kerbal Alarm Clock, and this is easy to mod to download and install, but it gives you a lot of great features. It gives you an alarm to tell you when something's happening. You can see in the top row here, it gives you sphere of influence, maneuver nodes, when you approach your apoapsis or periapsis, or you can just set a time for it to go. So once you've selected what type of alarm you want to do, you can set your time, and then it'll freeze the game and give you a message saying you need to do something with this, and it even gives you an option to jump to that ship. So it's a handy mod to use, and I've been using it a lot lately. So this is going to take about 4 days, I think, to rotate, if I'm not right. I set it for 1 day, 5 hours, so that the orbit will align with the base, and then we can launch. Right now we've got some other things to do during that time. And this is what we're doing. We're going to be vamping up our Mun Tug. And basically the Mun Tug we've got there isn't fit for purpose. We need a larger docking port, on the bottom of it, because it was wobbling a bit when we were thrusting about. So this will secure anything on the bottom, and it also makes the same type of adapter that we have for the miner and everything that's landed on the man. So adding some extra RCS fuel tanks and some RCS thrusters. And also, this is the big project. This is going to be the big one. Trying to dock something while landing at the same time. Trying to land on one spot on the spacecraft. Can we do it? I'm not sure about this. In fact, this is one of the things I was scared about. And that was landing on a single target with a docking port and docking. Anyway, let's go and give it a go. Oh, by the way, the grass is dark green here. Does that mean anything? I don't know. think it was glitching in the game. I turned the graphics down so the frame rate might be a bit better. However, it gave me dark green grass. As they say, the grass is greener over the hill, so perhaps that means something good for our space program. Fingers crossed. Okay, now let's launch this up into orbit. You can see it's a bit unstable. It's not too bad. They modified this rocket so we can lift 130 tons, and that is almost what we've got under the hood. It's enough to get into orbit, and also to the Mun. I modified it by replacing the outer booster tanks with the large rocket engines and larger tanks. You can see with the same with the center tank, and put them on the side. Feeding the fuel into the middle tank, obviously, so we have a staging that'll make sure that we have full fuel in the center tank. And away we go up into orbit. This actually took about 8 minutes to get up into orbit. And it's a slow beast. Or it gets us up into orbit, or at least it will do after I set our maneuver. I'm going through the entire launch sequence. Normally I would cut this up so you'd see me launching, we'd brake until the part where we get into space, then we get brake until the part where we get into orbit, and then hey presto, we brake into the mission. Doesn't that look pretty? We're doing star shapes now in space. Right, after we get into orbit, we're going to set our Mun rendezvous, and I suppose we'll have an alarm clock at some point telling us that we have to get the other Mun spacecraft into orbit and dock with the space station. But you see by here we're dropping down, and yes, this rocket was slightly underpowered. Maybe it was my fault, my driving skills, but we dipped down into the atmosphere before getting to full orbit. However, that's not too bad because we're only dipping slightly back down, so we're not going to lose our orbit. And we will get to the Mun. So let's get going there, because we got too many things to do, and so much little time to do it in. So some quick cutscenes to the Mun, and get ourselves into orbit. And now we've got ourselves into orbit. Now that was quick. Now by here I was thinking we could perhaps land this. We got 3 hours until we have to launch the other tug, but in reality we can't land it yet because we need to get rid of the tug which we got here on top of the miner away. Oh, look at that! We got a full ore tank. Harkus has been hard at work. Yes, now with that full ore tank full we can stop our mining because it's actually just wasting power and not doing anything. Press the F9 action keys to retract the drills. And just one last thing, we have to retract the solar panels and those radiators panels because they're in the way of the rocket blasts, the rockets that we got on top, and as soon as that launches, those solar panels will be bye-bye. Okay, let's get Harkus out, and I want to show you what happens here. Let's get him over because he deserves a well-earned break because he's been working for 5 whole days, over 5 days, just mining because we've just left him there without thinking. Okay, so, well, we'll pretend he's had breaks, he's been eating food in there, he's had to stay there to monitor all the mining. Now we can go for his well-deserved break. He's in time to watch the game, the big match that's happening now on Kerbal. But watch this, I'll slow down time because I want to show you what happens. Right, press F to grab, okay, start climbing, and boom. Harkus spontaneously combusts or spontaneously explodes. Was there a pressure leak in his spacesuit? I don't know. I didn't want to lose him anyway, so I do quick load. And I don't know, I may keep situations like that, even though that's generally a bug in the game. Maybe something to do with the mods, I'm not sure. Or let's get back to this. I'm now aligning the base with the orbit of the space station so we can launch up and, well, intercept and dock with it. Okay, now they're lined up. We can go return there and decouple and thrust up at the same time. Okay, little throttle first, decouple. But we're controlling miner, we want to control the tag and launch. And be wary, because you don't want to launch and go at the wrong angle. If you're using the markers on the nav ball, sometimes you can get mistaken and launch it in the wrong way. Make sure you know which way the space station's orbiting and which way you're going up. You can see we're not totally in line. We can adjust that as soon as we're doing our orbit burn, and you don't have to go too high. In fact, it's easier to go in a low orbit because you'll be traveling faster and be able to catch up with the station quicker and dock quicker. So once we have our orbit set up, we can quickly get to it. We're almost there. This doesn't take long, this maneuver, and it's quite easy once you get used to it. It's just a matter of lining up. Do not forget to quick save. That is what I keep on forgetting to do, and I find when I quick load, I've quick loaded to a previous save and I've missed it. Messed it up. I'm gonna miss the station altogether. Or have to do too many things again. Okay, so here we are in orbit. Now to do your rendezvous, same as ever, create your rendezvous maneuver, and you see we're quite far away from the station. It's going to take quite a bit of adjustments, and here I am trying to use the +1 orbit and minus orbit, but because we've passed that maneuver node, it won't let me fiddle with it, so let's create another one, adjust it, go around the entire orbit. No, it's still far away. Now, if you hit the +1 orbit, you can see it's starting to get closer. As soon as you go over the craft, though, it goes +1 orbit from in front of your craft, so you'll have to -1 orbit. Or +1 orbit for that. I can't remember. Right, now that's set up, we've got over a quarter of an hour till we come to do this maneuver and get ready for our docking. So let's go and land. And in fact, the rest of this video is all about landing, because this is going to be really tricky. I'm going to deorbit this, land it in the same area as our base, then we're going to take off again and try to land a dock on top of the miner. That is no easy feat. So what I'm going to do by here is try to set up use the SAS and the deorbit to make it a bit easier for me. If you have that feature available, it's handy to use. You can set it to your SAS to target your retrograde, burn on your retrograde, decrease your orbit, and when you're coming down, on your initial burn, target over the area which you're going to, past the area where you want to land, and then slowly decrease your speed. This is trying to pinpoint your landing in the same place as your base, so you can place your base in one place. Of course, a handy way of deorbiting it is doing this, getting so that you come close over the area which you're going to land, then kill your velocity 100% so you're falling straight down. And you can see by here I'm reducing the velocity, checking the map, making sure that we're still on course, and then reducing it to be so our landing spot will be a bit closer, as you can see by here. And this is how you can do pinpoint landings. Now this is handy, especially if you make a base. If you've got contracts, I'm not sure if they do it in career mode, we have to land in a specific area. And at this point while I'm going down, I'm thinking, why didn't I put landing legs on this tug? That way I could have landed, then I could have prepared myself to land properly. I thought, okay, so I'm going to have to land on that ore tank. It shouldn't be too bad. That shouldn't be too bad. It should stay up. And here we are. This is the pivotal moment where you have to kill your velocity, bring your speed down, make sure you have enough thrust to weight ratio so you can kill your velocity as quickly as possible, and just travel about, or just under 100 meters per second. Not 100 kilometers per second. You'll be smashed into the mud by now. Okay, I realized that we're coming down a bit short. We might hit that edge of the crater and be at an angle, and that's not good, especially if you haven't got any landing legs. Trust me, I've done it before, and it ended spectacularly. Because as soon as you tip over, you say, "Oh no, full thrust, go up, up, up," and then you smash into the side of the crater. Okay, let's kill our speed, come down slowly. I decide here, let's go into a hover. In fact, while we're at this, why not go a bit closer to the miner? That'll give us the opportunity to meticulously plan our ascent again and come down docking somehow on the top of the miner. Ooh. I wish I hadn't done this plan so far. At this point, I'm thinking, well, is there some other way I could do this? I could build a crane. That'll be my backup plan. I'll build a crane so that we can wheel it over the top of the miner, just drop the tank on top. Can't be that hard. Still, we'll have to land the Mun Tug or something, or build something else to do it. I don't know. Perhaps a new redesign. Okay, so we're coming down. Let's just get landing first. We're quite close to the miner. Fingers crossed. We don't want to come down too fast. We don't want to damage that docking port. As soon as that apparatus on the bottom, or the ore tank has been damaged, we have no way of getting the ore up. We'll have to send another one from Kerbal to dock. Perhaps we should have sent two on the way. Left one in orbit that we could dock with and use just in case or something. But the ideal thing to do would be to dock it with a space station. Right, we're almost down. Lights on, see how far we are. Handy thing with these lights is you can see the circles there. As soon as they come in closer together, you know you're close to the surface. As soon as they shrink, you know you're really close. Okay, carefully, carefully, carefully. Ooh. Okay, this was a bit of a mistake because at the moment it's acting like a spring. It's bouncing us about on the surface of the mud. And I thought, well, either we'll try to kill our speed or get to flatter ground and then land. Okay, so we're heading in its general direction. We could try to use this opportunity at the moment to dock with it. But I feel we're coming in at a bit too much of an angle. I would love to come down straight directly on top of it, if that was possible. Anyway, let's get this, kill our velocity again, and land. And do a sort of hopping maneuver. And you see we're tilting too much on the ground, so we can't exactly land by here. And come over. Right, it's getting a bit thing. We can targeting the docking port. Whoa, too much power, too much power. Okay, we're going sideways too much. Come on, kill the velocity. Perhaps if we go a bit higher, yeah, that might work if we get a bit higher. However, we're still drifting too far sideways. And controlling it, trying to get this going in the right direction, is quite difficult. Because you end up at weird angles, you kill one angle, and then you suddenly find you're going in another angle. So, let's go straight down. We're now over flatter terrain. Yeah, this'll work, I think. Oh. You see, you're just killing your velocity just for landing is quite hard. However, it's much easier to do that, killing your velocity at any point. However, trying to kill your velocity over a target is much harder. at this point, I just devise another strategy. I think it was just to hover like this slowly, but at a better altitude, and then go over the top of it, come down slowly, have an above view of it. Try to use the RCF thrusters going side to side, you can see by here. That's why we're wobbling round back and forth. However, the RCF thrusters don't seem to have enough oomph to get themselves in that direction. In fact, they're spinning me for some reason. I think it's because I got the SAS on and trying to control it going from left, slide it right and left, and then suddenly it was trying to correct my orientation, going straight up. Oh, come on, this can't be this hard. Why did I design it like this? Okay, we seem to be at a standstill. Let's direct ourselves slowly towards the miner. Perhaps this way we can get over the top. Okay, we're coming down quickly. This is the point where you put too much thrust on and you find you're coming doing too fast. However, we're not too bad. Yeah, this could work. Could work. We do this slowly. And there goes the spinning again. We need to kill our sideways motion, and this gets a bit trickier because you're trying to use the orientation of you can see on the ship to get your direction correctly, and you're trying to use an apple to kill your velocity. Oh, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. We'll get there. Okay, we got our hover. In fact, let's land by here, reorientate ourselves, and see what we can do. Okay, down slowly. Too much. Okay, now we're approaching the point in the video where things become interesting. Let's go back into more normal time. And in fact, I have to mention that this was running at about 12 frames per second for me while playing the game, so I've speeded the video up a bit. And this is also making things awkward. Okay, we got this orientation correct. Need to slowly come over the top. Use the bottom docking port as control from here. We're listing sideways. Well, lost control. Well, come on. No, come on. Turn over. No, come on, bucket. Turn off the thrust. No. Okay. No, come on. Oh, bugger. Okay, so things didn't go right. Let's go to plan B. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Perhaps in the next episode we'll work something out, we'll get this crane to work or something. And if you're not already subscribed, but you did enjoy this video and you want to see more, why not subscribe? Because you'll get to see this contraption functioning on the Mun. And I will see you later, guys. Trust me, I'm an engineer.